Hey gang, Craig Ripley here. Welcome once again to Living Off the Slab. Now last time we were talking about motivation for getting out there and living your motorcycle touring dreams, right? But this time I think what we need to talk about is, well, some old mechanical things. That is, well, how you pack this motorcycle. Because riding this Vision on this tour, well, that's going to present some challenges that I don't have when I ride the Tenere. Now, while my Victory Vision has been a great bike over the last 10 years, it really loves to eat up the miles on the road, and it is extremely comfortable, right? So I can't complain a whole lot about it. But if I was going to, the one thing that most of us Vision owners wish it had was bigger saddlebags, right? There's a total of 29 gallons of storage space on this bike. The same as the new Goldwing, by the way. Right? And people are complaining about that they've really reduced the amount of storage space on the Goldwing. Well, it does force you to make some, I guess, accommodations, right? Forces you to make some choices in the kinds of things that you can carry on your tour. For example, when my wife and I are touring together, which is usually what we're doing on this bike, we're not camping, right? We're staying in hotels, so we don't have to worry about camping gear, and all of those kinds of things that I'm going to be taking along with me on this trip. So in order to be able to do that, in order to be able to carry all the camping gear, then I am going to have to cut down on some of the other things that I'm carrying, right? Like clothing. So take a look at some of these pictures and you can see what I'm talking about. This is the storage space that is inside what looks like a huge pannier, but is actually not when you open it up and you get down to it, right? It's a relatively small space that they have for the saddlebags here. Now, my wife and I have always managed with this space, so I think I'm going to be able to do so again, but I am going to make a little bit of accommodation for it. Because in playing around with the space that I have available, see, what I want to do is I want to carry all of my clothing in one of these saddlebags and maybe a couple of other things like my first aid kit, for example. But all of my clothing has to be able to go in this one saddlebag, because when my wife joins me, she's going to get the other saddlebag. So I've been playing around with packing a little bit. And even though I know I did a video a little bit ago about the difference between packing cubes, which is what I have here, and the stuff sacks, and typically I've gone with stuff sacks over the years. I just find them to be easier. But I think this time I'm actually going to use these packing cubes, right? Because I think in this application, in the Vision, they're actually going to work out a little bit better. So after playing around with it, this is what I'm going to get to pack on this trip for clothing. Right, I'm going to take 2 of these large packing cubes, and that is all the clothing I can take on this trip. Well, plus maybe an extra pair of shoes. I hope I can fit them in there somewhere. So what's going to be in these packing cubes? Well, one is going to have all of my riding clothing. That is all of my base layers, my socks, my underwear, my shirts for riding during the day. And the other one will have stuff in it for off the bike. All right, so a pair of jeans or a pair of long pants, a couple extra pair of underwear, some socks and so forth. That will go in the second packing cube. And normally I take 4 days worth of clothing. That is, I'm wearing one pair of base layers and then I am swapping those out, and every 4 days or so I wash them. Right, sometimes you can wear them more than 1 day, of course, but in general, I'm stopping every 4 to 5 days and I'm doing a wash anyway. Right, so this time though, I am going to cut that down and I'm only going to carry 3 days worth of clothing. So I'm going to be, again, washing this clothing more often this time. Here is what the clothes are going to look like when they're in the saddlebag. Again, I've got my 2 packing cubes there filled with my clothing. I do use the inner bag here because it allows me to overstuff the bag a little bit and then keep everything confined that way when I zip it all up. So I'm hoping here that I'll have some extra space here on top for me to put in my toiletries and things like that I need to carry. I always carry some extra glasses with me, sunglasses, a pair of glasses in case the ones that I'm wearing get broken, and I'm hoping I can stick some shoes in up here in the front. So I think doing it that way, I can get all of my clothing, again, extra shoes, toiletries, everything in one saddlebag. In the other saddlebag, what I'm going to do is carry some of my camping equipment. And again, here what you can see is that's my tent up there on the top, so I can get to it easily, as well as I've got some other things in there like my jet boil, my cooking utensils and so forth are all in this right-hand saddlebag. I'm sure that you guys noticed that I said some of my camping gear is going in that right saddlebag. Well, all of it can't fit in there. So what I've got up in here in this bag, this dry bag that is going to go on my trunk rack, is I'm going to have my sleeping bag, my sleeping pad, I've got my camp chair in there, and I've got my tent poles in here. Again, because the tent poles won't fit in the saddlebag over there. So I usually don't like separating the two because I want to grab it all at once and get it set up. But in this case, I don't have a whole lot of choice. Right? I can't fit it all in one spot. Now what's going to happen when my wife joins me is all of this camping gear is going to get boxed up and it's going to be shipped back home. Right? Because we just won't need it anymore. While my wife is with me, we're not going to camp. Right? She just doesn't want to do that. And quite honestly, I don't want to subject her to that, especially after her accident from a year or so ago. Right? So we're not going to be camping anymore. We'll be hoteling it from then on. And then when she goes home, then I'm only going to have another week or so. So I think I'm just going to hotel it on the way home. Kind of probably play it by ear for that last week and see what I find on the way. Right? So I'm not going to have to worry about all of this stuff anymore. Now I'm sure you're probably asking yourself, well, Craig, you did not mention what's going to go in your trunk. Right? Isn't there a lot of space in there? I says, yeah. There is, but why don't you come along this side and I'll show you what's going to go in here. So this is what's going to go in my top case, in my trunk, right? Camera equipment, right? I do this YouTube channel and I've committed to documenting my trips, so I have to carry all this stuff with me. And obviously if I didn't, then I would have a lot of additional space to work with. Right, but what I'm going to do here is, again, I'm going to have my camera that'll be with me. I'll have my GoPro cameras. In here will probably be my microphones that I carry with me. And I've got some other things like cords and a backup device and maybe even my drone that I'm going to carry with me. So there's a lot of stuff that is going to go in here. This space is going to be pretty much filled. And I do have to find a spot for my first aid kit, which I was thinking might go up here. And also tools are going to go in here, but there's a little secret compartment that you can put the tools in. Right, if I take this out, there's a little door that gets removed, and my plan is to stick my pump and my tools down in here. Right, because you don't have to get to it very often, so if I do need my tools, do need to plug a tire, I can always take a couple of the camera items out and then, get the tools that way. So right now, that is what I'm planning for packing. Before we close and leave that trunk area there, let me show you a couple of pictures of what I'm working on. I need a charging station, right, for my GoPro batteries, for my camera batteries. So I'm looking at wiring something up to handle all of that stuff. I did it when I went to Alaska with the Tenere, but I did that all in my tank bag, right? But here I'm going to do it all in the trunk because there is a charging port in the trunk of the Vision. The one thing that I have to be careful of is that thing is always hot. So it'll let you charge a cell phone or something like that when you go into a restaurant as long as you leave it plugged in the back. So I don't want that sitting all night charging my camera batteries, right? So I'm going to have to make sure that I unplug that every night so that I don't get up and have a dead battery in the morning. So again, just one thing I need to be careful of. So as I said, traveling, doing this long trip on the Vision is going to be a little bit more of a challenge than if I did it on the Tenere. The Tenere is set up, I can carry all this stuff and have plenty of room. The Vision, well, again, I got to get a little creative, right? And the one thing that I am already running short of is that extra space that I said was a good idea to take with you. So again, I'm going to go through this a few more times and see what I can figure out. I'm probably going to have extra space in my trunk, right, or maybe in that bag on my trunk rack. We'll see how it works out, but I'm going to try to figure out how I can have that extra space. All right, gang, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe and hit that like button. And also, if you want to support the channel, there are several ways that you can do that in the description of this video. Again, I appreciate everybody for what you do. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.